Welcome to Honeybee, real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. When my wife finally graduated from medical school, I felt nothing but pride. I had been there through every late-night cram session, every stressful exam, and every grueling interview. I helped pay the rent, stocked our kitchen, and held her hand through every emotional breakdown. I never once complained because I believed we were building a future together. But when she started earning more than me, something I thought we'd celebrate, she blindsided me with divorce papers. I didn't argue. I just signed them. 10 years later, she came back, and I gave her a taste of her own medicine. My name's Jerry. Back in my early 20s, while most of my friends were chasing office jobs or still figuring out what to do with their lives, I was already running a small computer hardware shop. Just a few shelves of components, constant orders, and a daily grind to stay afloat. The business had its highs and lows. Tech prices changed overnight, and some products barely turned profit. But I knew what I was doing. Every dollar I made mattered because I didn't come from money. Every bit of progress felt earned. I wouldn't have called myself a businessman in the traditional sense, but I was driven. I knew that if I wanted security, I'd have to build it myself. That's when I met Megan. She was still an undergrad, already obsessed with her dream of becoming a doctor. It was all she talked about, and you could see her passion whenever she spoke about it. I admired that. By then, my business wasn't making me rich, but it was steady enough. Megan and I started spending more time together. Our conversations were deep, never just small talk. She poured her heart into her dream, and I respected that. Watching her chase it so fiercely inspired me. As we grew closer, I got more involved in her life. I saw how much pressure she was under, not just academically, but financially too. I knew she had student loans, but I also knew the long-term burden those debts could cause. So I stepped up. I told her I'd help with what I could. I took on as much of the financial weight as possible because I wanted her to focus on her dream without worrying about money. To me, it felt like an investment in our shared future. I showed up for her, always. Late-night pep talks before exams, surprise meals when she was too stressed to cook, quietly covering overdue bills so she could focus on studying. I was her safety net, the one person she could rely on, and I took pride in that. I truly thought that was what love was supposed to be. But what I didn't realize back then was that the more you give, the more some people come to expect it. When Megan got her acceptance letter to medical school, it felt like time stopped. She had worked so hard, and we were both ecstatic. To me, it wasn't just her victory. It was ours. Every late night, every sacrifice we made together finally felt like it was worth it. We were so full of hope that we decided to get married soon after. Our wedding was simple, just close friends and family. No fancy venue, no huge celebration, but it felt perfect at the time. Then medical school began and everything shifted. I knew it would be intense, but living through it was harder than I expected. Her schedule was brutal. Lectures, rotations, endless study groups. She left before sunrise and came home after I'd already gone to bed. If she came home at all. The little time we had together felt hollow. She was physically there but mentally somewhere else, always tired, always distant. I told myself it was just a phase. Once she graduated, I thought we'd get back to normal, but our expenses skyrocketed. Tuition, textbooks, exam fees. Everything cost more than we expected. My business income was never guaranteed, but I pushed harder than ever, taking more clients, staying up late, finding new suppliers, delaying my own bills just to make sure she had what she needed. I thought one day we'd laugh about those hard years and feel proud that we had survived them together. As graduation drew near, I began thinking about starting a family. I brought it up gently. Once residency's done, maybe we can try for kids? But she never really answered. She'd nod, change the subject, or steer the conversation back to her career goals, her plans for specialization, or the new doctor at her clinic who just bought a car. When it came to our future, she was distant. But I didn't push. I told myself she'd come around after graduation. I didn't see that she was already pulling away. Graduation day came. I was so proud, cheering louder than anyone else. recording every moment, convinced this was the beginning of the life we'd been working toward for years. But less than a month into residency, she handed me an envelope. I thought it was job paperwork. It wasn't. They were divorce papers. I asked why, and all she said was, "I've changed. We're on different paths." That was it. No conversation, no closure. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I didn't eat for days, replaying everything in my head, wondering where I went wrong. But deep down, I knew she'd made this decision long ago. I was just the last one to know. I eventually saw a lawyer. I wanted to fight for at least some of what I'd poured into her life. But my lawyer was blunt. Without a written agreement saying my support was a loan or investment, I'd get very little back. We went to court anyway. The judge sympathized but could only award me a small fraction of what I'd spent. It didn't even make a dent. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt hollow. The person I had given my love, time, and future to had walked away like none of it mattered. After the divorce, I felt empty. I had to rebuild everything, my finances, my business, my identity. I threw myself into work, not out of ambition, but because I needed something to hold on to. Eventually, my business picked up again. I got back on my feet, but emotionally I was changed. I made a quiet promise to myself. Never again would I sign away my future under the illusion of love. I decided I could date, yes, but never legally marry again. That scared some women off. Others tried to convince me to change my mind. Then I met someone who understood. She had been through her own struggles and didn't want marriage either. We built a life together, shared our days, supported each other, found peace. Then one quiet night, a Facebook notification popped up. It was from Megan. 10 years had passed since our divorce. Her message was simple. "Hey, how have you been?" I replied, and soon she shifted from casual small talk to nostalgia. She said she'd been thinking about the past, that she missed what we had, that I was the most stable man she had ever known. She told me she admired how I supported her through med school. Then she said something that made me laugh. She told me she always believed the reason I never remarried was because deep down, I was waiting for her. That told me everything I needed to know. After all these years, she still thought the world revolved around her, that I'd been frozen in time, waiting for her to come back. She didn't even consider that I might have healed, moved on, and built something better without her. I replied with just 3 words. "You assumed wrong." Later, I learned what happened to her after our divorce. She chased flashy, successful men, the kind who took her out, spent money, slept with her, but never saw her as wife material. Eventually, she married someone who made far less than her, a man who cheated on her regularly with younger women. And when their marriage ended, she had to pay him alimony. The same woman who once said we were on different paths ended up financially supporting a man who betrayed her. I didn't feel pity. If anything, it confirmed what I already knew. Life has a way of bringing people face to face with the truth. I didn't block her right away. I let her talk, let her apologize, let her chase. She tried to sound casual, but I could hear the desperation. She was terrified of ending up alone, of growing old without someone to depend on. I gave her just enough attention to keep her hoping. Short replies, vague hints. For months, she tried to win me back, thinking she still had a chance. But one morning, I decided it was time to end it. I told her our divorce wasn't the end of something good. It was the start of something necessary. Losing her forced me to rebuild, to grow, to find peace. And I told her I had no interest in reopening doors that life had already closed. She lashed out immediately. First guilt trips, then accusations, then drama. She even messaged my partner, trying to stir trouble. That's when I knew this wasn't just desperation. It was harassment. I had my attorney send her a cease and desist letter and blocked her on everything. For the first time, I shut that door completely. And I realized something. I didn't just get closure. I got peace. Today, I spend my time with someone who respects my boundaries and never makes love feel like a gamble. Megan's chapter is closed. Forever.